All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties, guys. Once again, I am Ben. I am an officer for PR at the UCD Esports, and we are welcomed by Diego. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Diego. Oh, sorry, I'm hearing a lot of echo.
Oh, you're good. Let me see if I can mute myself. Oh, can you hear me if I do that?
Try it.
Should I mute myself?
Yeah, we can mute ourselves when he's talking. I think that might fix it.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm Diego. I'm a game designer at Riot. A little bit about myself. I've been at Riot for a little over 3 years now. I just hit my three-year mark in January. Before starting at Riot full time, I was an intern at Riot, and before then I was a college student. So Riot is kind of like my first gig, so to speak. But as an intern, I helped work on Team Deathmatch and help ship the mode. And then after I came back after my internship, I continued working on the modes team, did some modes exploration stuff. And then after that, I went over to the maps team, which I've been on ever since, and really love my time on the maps team right now. I learned level design on the job at Valorant, and it's been really fun and rewarding just seeing, all the crazy stuff that you guys do on the maps. A little bit more about the work I've done on the maps team. I haven't made a map of my own just yet, but I have done a lot of map updates. So, just I was watching the stream and you guys played Abyss, and so I was the one who worked on the Abyss B site and mid changes that went out in 11.08. And my most recent update is the 1.2 Corrode and Haven, where we updated some stuff with Wallpen. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Yeah, thank you, Diego. So now you can start your presentation whenever.
Cool. Yeah. So we'll get into it. So this presentation is mostly going to focus on like how we update maps on Valorant, kind of the philosophy, the game design. I'll also be sprinkling in some stuff about general game dev if people are interested, but mostly this presentation will be pretty Val oriented. But before we get started, though, I can't really see anyone, obviously, but you can give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. How do we like Corrode? It's been out for almost a year, and yeah, just gauging how people feel on that. You can tell me if it's like a lot of no's or a lot of yeses. I don't really mind.
I'm getting.
If there are people giving the thumbs up, thumbs down, but
I'm getting very mixed results.
that's
One
okay.
side. You know what?
You
I
won't
think
hurt my feelings.
majority, yes. Majority like it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take your word for it. But yeah, so for Corrode, we've seen how you guys have taken the map and made it your own, creating your own strategies, your own lineups, all that jazz. And it's been really fun seeing, Corrode be taken in the hands of players like yourselves. And so some of you may be wondering, is there going to be a Corrode update soon? Are we planning to make updates to Corrode? And I'll get into that a little bit more actually later on, but we're just to preface, we don't have anything planned or announced just yet, but I think it'll go into more of our map design philosophy in the next slide. So first off, obviously, learning maps takes a lot of time. Corrode's been out for a year, and I think we've gotten a good idea of like what the meta is and like what certain strategies work best. But things are always changing, things are always fluctuating, especially with a game as deep and complex as Valorant. One agent being changed in the meta can change the meta for like a lot of maps, right? And so we want to make sure that when we're changing maps or updating them, we want to, be direct in terms of what we're trying to fix, like fix a certain problem. But in Corrode's case, we've been monitoring the map a lot post launch, and we've got some ideas of how the map is behaving, and we want to make sure that we give y'all the time as much as possible to like really learn the map. And we don't want to change things for the sake of change either. We usually want to just target unhealthy play patterns. So if you think of the Pearl update on B site, which I worked on as well, it was mostly just targeted towards the the post plant where you plant for long, you run away, you play like for long, and it's like almost impossible for the defenders to retake and like almost win the retake. So yeah, so going into more of our philosophy here, we believe on the maps team and that small changes can have a big impact. Here you'll see the Corrode and Haven changes, and I think that's a pretty big and obvious example of, you know, the wall play on Haven, for example, that being there, I I almost, you know, at least in my games, I haven't died off the barrier rip behind that wall in months now because of, you know, adding that wall plate. And so that then bleeds into, you know, impact to the rest of the round where it's like, hey, just because you didn't die off the barrier in window, now you're able to go on to maybe have like a really impactful round or like make really impactful decisions. And so that's kind of what we are looking for when we are making changes. We don't want to put a lot of stress on you, the player, where it's like, hey, we're going to change a lot of stuff and you're going to have to relearn the whole map and stuff like that. Most of the time, we don't want to do that. We want to make changes that are very obvious and very kind of easy to understand at a glance. Be like, you should see it and be like, okay, this is what they nerfed, this is what they buffed, blah, 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 so forth. But, you know, there are times, as some of you may have known, that we do make big changes. And, you know, you will have to, you know, relearn lots of the map or relearn parts of the map because it's so different than what was there before. But we believe that that short-term pain is better in the long term if we think that the changes are worth it. And so you can probably get what I'm alluding to, and that's Breeze, the Breeze rework that we had at the start of the year. And so for Breeze, you know, shout out to Joey Siemens who worked on the update. He did an amazing job at changing things to make the map feel better to play, but also still feel, you know, like the Breeze you all know and have played before the rework as well. We wanted to keep things like the long range engagements for Breeze, but make it so that other controllers other than Viper can be played on it, right? I think that was one of the main pain points of old Breeze was just how open the map was. You couldn't really play Dome Smokes, and it felt like you were kind of trolling your teammates if you picked like Clove or Omen instead of Viper, because then it's like, well, now I'll just get shot from a million other angles that Viper can just easily clear and control. Quick little side-by-side comparison here too of the old and the new Breeze. You'll see that a lot of it has changed, but a lot of it kind of stayed the same, right? B site and A site, they have changes, but the general idea of them, you know, the pyramids, the big pillar in the center on B site, those have relatively stayed the same. The macro of the map has not changed all that much. We did remove halls. We did remove that extra snake path from attacker spawn to be attacker window. And for the most part, that's kind of like what we're thinking of. Again, we want things to be easy to parse and easy to understand them from a change list perspective. And so that you guys, you know, you'll see like, oh man, Breeze changed. But as you start playing more and more, things will start to feel familiar again. And that's kind of the idea. I have a little video here. Don't know if you can see that, but again, this is a little bit of the before and after for Breeze. I'm sure many of you have seen this video, but again, we really wanted to target a lot of the wide open spaces on the map and just shrink them just a smidge, just so that, you know, things like Dome Smokes can work. Also, like in a game like Valorant, where the time to kill is like milliseconds fast sometimes, like you see a guy, you just die to a headshot. Being in these wide open spaces kind of feels a bit of a gamble, right? When you're walking up old Breeze on mid, and you're in this wide open space, you get Phoenix Flash, you're dead, right? There's no cover around for you to possibly hide behind. And so now we've kind of shrunk the space and made it just a bit more friendly for Dome Smokers and for, you know, you yourself if you get caught out, right? We want to give you options in terms of how you take the space. And so yeah, a lot of the stuff has been changed. We also changed the macro. Obviously, Halls is gone. We wanted to do that because, you know, in a game of Valorant, we want the positioning of the enemies to be somewhat predictable, right? You don't know if they're gonna like 5 slam B or 5 slam A, or if they're gonna go for like a mid default, but we do want there to be some level of predictability to a map and to a game. And you know, with the extra lanes like Halls and Snake and all that stuff, it felt like players would get just flanked so easily and really just have their head on a swivel almost. And we wanted to kind of like not cut it out, so to speak, but to kind of just simplify the map and be like, hey, you can take your fight main, you can take your fight mid, someone could lurk up elbow, someone could lurk up B main, but that's kind of where you can expect them to be. You know, no one's going to be 40 seconds into the game and they're just like still in halls, right, waiting for the CTs to rotate, or the defenders, sorry, to rotate in. So yeah, again, same thing. How we like a new Breeze. You can tell me if people don't like it. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
This one,
You can be real.
There's like half and half for this one. A few people like it, a few people don't. There was a good reaction to it initially, though.
Okay. Cool. That's all right. And so yeah, I'm gonna keep going for real quick. I'm gonna not speed through this part, but I know people probably have questions, so a little bit of an FAQ that we usually get as map designers, right? It's like, do we make maps for certain agents? Quick answer, no. We want all of the agent roster to work at a baseline, right? We want all of our agents to feel like, hey, like I can play Phoenix, or I can play Deadlock, or I can play Chamber, Clove, all these characters, and like they will work at a baseline. But we want to give the meta findings, so to speak, to you, the players. We don't want to just come in and make this map like, hey, this is the Viper map, or this is the Deadlock map, and you have to play Deadlock or else you're gonna have a bad time. We want all of the characters to have a good time on all of our maps. Some may be better than others, right? Like on Abyss, you'll see more Jet and Waylay because there's a lot of verticality, and you want to have them access that verticality easier than someone like Yoru or Neon can do, right? So that's question one. Question two, how do we decide map rotations? This is a bit of a spicy one, right? A little bit more transparently, we've been changing how we do our map rotations ever since like the game launched to now. And so there's a couple of things that we consider. I'll name the first two. The first consideration is the variety of the play styles we have on our map pool, right? We want the game to feel, games of Valorant to feel similar but also distinct, right? Where it's like we have Breeze, Ascent, Bind, Split. There is some overlap on those maps in terms of the agents you pick, right? So it's like Ascent and Split. Bind is a bit more defender sided. And so we want things to like feel similar, but have, a little bit of variety, have a little bit of spice in there, so to speak. But another thing we take into account is like, how players respond to certain maps. And I'm sure you guys can kind of get what I mean by that. I won't delve too deep into that part, but we do take player feedback into consideration on how we build our map pools. I mean, for example, I think like 3 years ago there was a map pool where it was like Old Breeze, Icebox, and Fracture all in the same pool, and we were like, yeah, that's pretty tough. So I think we've definitely taken learnings from that and have moved forward to be like kind of create a more curated map pool so that players, such as yourselves, not only in pro play, but also, your average ranked demon can go in there and be like, okay, yeah, the map pool's pretty good. I kind of like this map pool. So yeah. And then, yeah, I want to give as much time as possible for the Q&A if you guys need it. So hit me with any questions.
All right, so before we go into like the crowd questions, I do have a question myself. And that's like, so when you're looking at agents, there are some more introductory agents like maybe Phoenix or Reyna who are more simple to play. So do you take the same consideration into maps as well? Like, will you balance casual play versus VCT and ranked? And how do you do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. For VCT in particular, there's a lot of things that we see that the pros are very good at. For example, Brock wall spamming with the Odin, the really highly coordinated Pearl B long stuff that was happening before we patched it. And so we take both into consideration for what it's worth. I think with maps, it is not easier, so to speak, but once pros kind of like unlock the meta, so to speak, or the way you're supposed to play a map, it then is almost like a trickle down effect where it's very easy to replicate on the everyday player side. Like, I mean, I'm currently D3, and I remember back when Pearl again was like you just playing for long and run away. That's kind of what everyone was doing, right? Everyone just kind of understood, hey, this is the way you win the map. This is the way that you win rounds, basically. And so there is that little bit of that trickle down effect. So pro play does bring that up to the forefront. And we kind of take a look at that and be like, okay, do we like this? Do we not like this? Is this unhealthy? Do we need to change it? That being said, though, we take everyone's feedback into account, like from whether you're silver, platinum, diamond, immortal. We take all the feedback into account, but we do try to see like, hey, are you being coordinated, right? If we get feedback that, oh, a map has a lot of corners from a certain cohort of people, and then another cohort, it's like, oh, the map feels pretty attacker sided actually. And so it's like, okay, something's going on there that we need to figure out. And as game designers, it's kind of our job to find a solution to people's problems, so to speak. And, everyone's got problems with everything all the time. That's just kind of how life is. But we have a really great team, like the community team that, Ashley Sal is a part of. Shout out Ashley. and our insights team that kind of help bridge the gap between the data and how players are really feeling. So yeah, we I guess to more directly answer your question, we kind of do take a look at pro slightly more, but we don't say like, oh, because it's happening in pro play, we're gonna change it just for them. No, we think of the whole game holistically.
Yeah, we thank you for your answer. That was really in depth. But now we're going to open it to more crowd questions. So if you do have a question, if you want to line up like right over here, you can ask him the question directly. So anybody?
I wish I could see you guys.
And if you don't want to ask
I'm just
it
waving
directly,
to a void.
yeah. If you don't want to ask it directly, you can also ask like tell me or her, and then we can ask it for you as well.
I can ask directly.
Oh, of course. Okay, go ahead.
All right, where's the mic?
The mic is right here.
Oh, hey. Hey there. Thank you. That was really, really awesome. So I have a more general question, speaking of player feedback, which is what is your pipeline for how you take feedback into consideration? Are you looking at match data? Are you looking at like Reddit forums, the Discords, and how do you sort of translate that into the decisions that you make on like what to change, what to tweak? Thanks so much.
Yeah. Like I mentioned before, it's a lot of there's a lot of feedback coming from everywhere. Like you mentioned, there's Twitter, there's Reddit, there's even Instagram comments, there's YouTube comments, there's everything, right? And so it really takes like a village of people to like kind of take that information and distill it for us designers. And so, as a designer, I myself, like, I'm a little bit more numbers oriented. So it's like, hey, I look at the flat number of like, win rate on a map, for example. It's like, oh, it's looking pretty like defender sided, but like, does anyone actually like hate this? Like, do people actually like it? I think a great example is Split, right? Where Split, I think we all know is a bit defender sided, but people don't actually hate Split for that. They actually find it as a cool like way that the map is played, so to speak. Like all the VCT bangers almost happen on Split, right? Like they almost always go to overtime. At least when we were watching Santiago, it seemed like every time Split was played, we're going like 15 rounds in or 15, 14 overtime. And so, yeah, the insights team is, I guess, a little bit more about like what each team does. Like insights gives us the hard data where it's like win rate, bomb plant percentage, all that jazz. But the numbers obviously don't tell the full story, right? They'll just tell flat gameplay percentages and stuff like that. While on Twitter and like, community stuff, everyone will be speaking through pure emotion, right? Everyone has their Twitter to crash out moment. Everyone like posts on Reddit, it's like, what the hell? Like, what are the devs doing? And some of that is valid, right? I think for Breeze, for example, we took a lot of player feedback into account. It's like, hey, like, we think you guys are right, basically. Like, we think Breeze could be better in these aspects, like, upping controller diversity, making the spaces smaller a little bit, right? And like a lot of that is like, again, being a designer, you're here to solve people's problems when they come to you with a problem. But sometimes people are like, Breeze is bad, and it's like, okay, why? It's like, well, I don't like A-Site. It's like, we're trying to dig a little bit more into like why people don't like things, or what is what they have a problem with. But yeah, it takes a lot. I'll just leave it there. It takes like almost like two teams basically to help us figure that out.
Yeah, thank you. And next question. Hello. You're probably gonna expect this question, but are you guys hiring any like internship positions? I'm a civil engineering student at San Jose State University, and I'm specializing in like AutoCAD and transportation. I've built maps. I've recreated the maps of Valorant in AutoCAD. I was wondering if you guys have any openings.
Yeah, unfortunately, the internship openings have already ended. I think they open in September, from what I remember being an intern myself. I think they stagger it a bit better now, though. I think when I applied to be an intern, it was like everything just opened, like design, engineering, art, all of that stuff. But I think it took a long time for people to like sift through all the resumes and stuff. So now they have like, I think they do like engineering, like computer science majors like first, like in September is like the first round from what I understand, and then in January they do like art, design, all that stuff. So I would keep your eyes open for like September, January, around that time. I think we always post about it on Twitter, or we post about it often about like, internships are open. yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to be an intern, I would just say shoot your shot. I didn't think I would be here at all. Just to be frank, I was like little story about my internship application. Story is that I was like a junior going to senior year of college. Yeah, and so I knew that the internships were opening in September, and so I was cleaning up my portfolio. I was trying to get things all nice and tidy. And so in September, I submitted my application not only to Riot, but also to Insomniac Games as well, because they were like the only two that would accept my like weird schedule stuff. Because I went to Drexel, if anyone knows what that is, but they have like a weird quarter system that I think they're actually getting rid of now. But yeah, and so I actually got denied from Insomniac, but accepted to Riot. And so that was like a whole roller coaster in and of itself. But yeah, I didn't think I would be here. But I just like, hey, you literally miss 100% of the shots you don't take in VALORANT in real life, you know? So just go for it. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, wait, that's a great story and great motto to live by. Yeah. Next question.
Let's see where we are. Hey Diego, I'm very curious about what sort of tools, assistance, simulations help out your map balancing, creation, design process. Do you use things like heat maps and traversal maps? Do you have some sort of like analytical model that shows like where people are looking at what times, or like their analytical approaches like weapon ranges on certain corners and room layouts? Do you use like AI driven like player analytics or something like that, simulated players? You have any like cool tech like that?
I'm not an insights person, so I wouldn't know the extent of the depth of the tech that we have. But you know, I think Riot being a pretty large company, we can get things if we want them to. I think. I think recently we asked for like, hey, can we get a heat map of X stat? And I think within like a month they were able to build that and get it to us. So I think we use heat maps a decent amount. Obviously in maps, it's really nice to have heat maps because it's really hard to be like, hey, this guy died B main. It's like, hey, okay, well, where? We need to know exactly where. Like it matters quite a bit. Every pixel in Val matters. So, yeah, I wouldn't know the full extent, but we definitely use heat maps.
Cool. Thank you.
We were muted, but he said thank you.
Oh.
No, you're good.
No problem.
All right, hello Diego. Thank you for all your information that we've done. And I might have two questions, but I'll ask the first one. So, will you be aware that sometimes for the sites there might not be enough places to cover it, resulting in something that the initiators' abilities such as Sova's Recon, Faye's Haunt, and Chaos Flash being too powerful. Will you guys be aware of that thing's happening?
Yeah, to answer that, I think the defensibility of sites is something we've taken into account a lot more. Not saying we never did, but with Corrode, I think Corrode kind of set like almost a new standard, if you can think of it like that, where it's like, hey, we want all of our maps to have some level of not defender sidedness, but like some defender options, right? You can see that as well in the like 11.08 Abyss updates, where it's like I cut out into the big box on site, so defenders have more options to play in. Gave them a dice so they can like pivot and like mix up their angles. So that's kind of like our philosophy now. It's like, hey, like we know that as the game gets older, you guys are going to get even more and more crazy with like lineups, strategy, set plays, all that stuff. And like, we need to build maps for a forever game, right? We don't know what Val is going to look like 10 years down the line, but we know it's going to be not crazy, but we know it's going to be like something we would have never thought of, in the previous 10 years. And so we want to make sure that our maps at a baseline can fit some of that growth, for example. So I think Corrode, if you think of Corrode B side and A side, how it's like, hey, you can fight up elbow on A side on Corrode and then back up to site and then finally back up to CT if you really have to. That's kind of how we're thinking of our maps now. Not to say that we're going to update all of our old maps, because I think some of our maps, again, going with the things of change for the sake of change. A lot of our old maps, y'all have already mastered them, and you all have already learned to play around them. And unless we see something like really, really obvious in the data and the player sentiments, like, hey, we should change this site because it doesn't meet our bar anymore. It doesn't meet our players' expectations anymore. Then we'll take a look at it. But really, honestly, I think I mentioned this a long time ago, but like for Corrode, we took a lot of looks at like Ascent B, for example, because we think Ascent B is that like kind of like golden child of like a bomb site in our minds, where it's like, you can fight main early if you want to. You'll probably get pushed off by like a flash or two. You can then, fight lane or fight stairs. You might get one, you might get pushed off again. You can go to site. You can play the triple box. Again, same deal. You can get flashed off. You can get pushed off by utility. You might get one. You might die. Ultimately, though, your Alamo moment ends in Boathouse, where it's like you kind of make your final stand, and that's kind of like how we like to think of our bomb sites now. Like we want to give you options. So yeah, that's a good question.
Okay, thanks so much.
Of course. Yeah, we have one more question, so go ahead.
2 questions. You don't have to take that long, sorry. How long does it take to design a map or a map change, like from start to finish? And also, what are your Riot employee benefits?
In game or out of game?
In game or out of game? He said. Out of game. Out of game.
Out of game benefit. Okay. Well, I think it's easy. First question. I cannot really say exactly how long. Riot PR forbids me to say exact timelines. But I will say it takes a long time, a very long time. And it takes a lot of people to build maps. I'm just one person, right? We have a team of like over 20 people who like do art for the map. We have another team of 10 really cracked ass gamers called the game analysis team that are like former pros in Radiance, that like test the maps. And we need to like not get their approval, so to speak, but if they're saying it's good, we're like, thank you. We know it's probably going to be good then. And so it takes a long time. Like there's a lot of layers. There's a lot of people that need to like go in and make the maps, like narrative, art, gameplay analysis, design, marketing at the end of it, right? If you remember Corrode, all the marketing material for Corrode, it takes a lot of time. It takes a really long time. And I guess, so for the second question, we get pretty good benefits. It's all there on the Riot website, I think. We get like unlimited PTO, nice healthcare, and 401k stuff. So it's nice. We get free food at Noms. I'm sure you guys have seen videos of Noms. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Everybody looks very intrigued by the benefits. Yeah, if you have any closing remarks or anything.
Yeah, honestly, thank all of you for playing Valorant. Like I was watching a little bit of the stream and it looks incredible. Like the production value is crazy. It looks so good. And so I, again, just want to say thank you for having me, and thank you all for playing Val. It really means a lot to all of the devs. Like even though we might not ever see each other in person, it really like means a lot when we do get to meet all of you in person and get to talk to you, or even like this, talking to you like this. It means a lot. It helps keeps us grounded and helps us understand who we're making the game for. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for making Breeze a little bit more playable.
We can try that.
Yeah, of course.
Let's try to flip the camera, maybe.
Oh yeah, you can see all the people. There's actually quite a few.
Oh wait, how do I see that?
Yeah, we're moving the camera. Oh, let me see if I can screen share so you can see everything. This is important.
This is important, guys.
Here you go.
You see them?
Yeah,
here we
everybody
go.
wants to say thank you.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming out tonight, or this morning. So thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
Yeah, well, have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank
right.
you.
Later all.